I had so many dreams about where I wanted to go, who I wanted to be, and what I wanted to do. The theatre companies I wanted to start with my classmates, the movies I wanted to be in, the directors I wanted to work with, the stories I needed to tell. I figured it would take a little time, but eventually it would all happen. As I sat there, I didn't want to think about where I'd be tomorrow or what I'd have to start doing the next day. I graduated in 1991, a great year. It was a time of resurgence for independent films in America, and a time when rents in New York City were still somewhat affordable. I assumed I'd be able to make a living writing my plays, acting way off Broadway, and hopefully, one day, join the actors I admired in independent films. Television? No way. I didn't even consider it. I thought I had more self-respect than that. But what I didn't have was cash, a bank account, a credit card, or even an apartment. All I had was debt, a big, hungry, growing debt. So, as you will tomorrow, I left beautiful Vermont. I packed my life, socks, and a toothbrush into a backpack and slept on couch after couch at friends' apartments in New York. Eventually, I wore out my welcome with their rent-paying roommates. I didn't want a day job. I was an actor. I was a writer. I was a Bennington graduate. But I had to get a day job. So, I dusted pianos at a store on Ludlow Street for 5 months. I worked for a Shakespeare scholar, pulling weeds and removing bees' nests. I even went on unemployment briefly, but I couldn't handle the guilt. Eventually, I was able to pay rent for a spot on the floor of an apartment on the Lower East Side. But then, my roommate had a breakdown, disappeared, and resurfaced in a religious cult. I'm making this sound romantic. It really wasn't. I helped hang paintings at galleries, and finally, after 2 years of odd jobs and couch surfing, I got a job in data entry at a place called Professional Examination Services, and I stayed there for 6 years. 6 years. That's longer than I spent at Bennington. From age 23 to 29, I worked there. They loved me because I was funny, I wore black, I smoked in the loading docks with the guys from the mailroom, and we all shared how hungover we were. Everyone called each other Shorty. I was constantly calling in sick on Fridays because I was out late the night before. I hated that job, but I clung to it because it allowed me to afford my own place. So I lived in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Yes, I lived in an industrial loft. My rent was $400 a month. My dream of running a theatre company with my friend, fellow Bennington graduate Ian Bell, had died. Neither of us had any business sense, and the theatre we lived in had no heat or hot water. We didn't smell great, but we had youth. Youth fades quickly, though, and you'll see that for yourself. Ian moved to Seattle, and I moved down the street to my loft, which still had no heat. In 1993, industrial loft meant not legal to live in. I don't want this to sound cool. It really wasn't. I had hot water, sure, but for some reason, in the middle of Brooklyn, I had actual earth in my shower, and mushrooms started growing from it. I was safe, though. There was a fire control company across the street, so I didn't worry about chemical fires. And up the street was a spice factory that made everything smell like cumin. I had a rat, but I got a cat named Brian. My grandmother gave me a pink pull-out couch that none of my friends wanted to crash on. I had no heat, no girlfriend, and no acting agent. But I had a cat named Brian who told me about the world outside, and I stayed there for 10 years. Now, don't pity me. There's a happy ending. When I was 29, I told myself that the next acting job I got, no matter what it paid, I would, from that moment on, be a working actor. So, I quit my position at Professional Examination Services. My friends weren't happy about it because it was so easy to find me there. It was the only place I had access to the internet. But then something good happened. I got a low-paying theatre job in a play called Imperfect Love, which led to a film called 13 Moons, which led to other roles. I've been working as an actor ever since. But at 29, when I walked away from data processing, I was terrified. My parents didn't have much money, but they struggled to send me to the best schools. And one of the most important things they did for me, and graduates, maybe you don't want to hear this, was that once I graduated, I was on my own financially. It was my turn. Parents, you're applauding. Graduates, maybe not. But this made me hungry. Literally. I couldn't be lazy. And so, at long last, I was among the actors, writers, and directors I had sought out from day one. The moments that define you have already happened and will happen again. It passes so quickly. So please bring each other along with you. Everyone you need is in this room. After graduation, it can be rough, but soon enough, a rhythm sets in. Trust me, it just does. Don't wait for the world to tell you you're ready. Show it. Do it. Like Beckett said, ever tried, ever failed. No matter. Try again. Fail again. Fail better. Bennington Class of 2012. The world is yours. Treat everyone kindly and light up the night. Thank you so much for having me here.